She's returning. I was going to say, while she's turning that recording on, I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Katie Shiflett. I work at JMU with the adult degree program. We work with people who are at all capacities of their learning journey and ultimately complete an associate's degree and decide, where am I going to go now that I have an associate's degree? And we can definitely share with you some options if JMU is one of them. Um, the first two, the main two that was encouraged that I discuss is the early childhood education, which the abbreviations are ECED. We use a lot of abbreviations, so I try to address those at the beginning. And the inclusive early childhood, we call ICE. And you're like, but that's not how ICE is spelled. And we know that, but that's our abbreviations, and we'll talk a little bit about those. So some things that you know about our program, if this is the pathway you choose. This is an adult degree program. The majority of our students are 22. We had a student graduate from our program in the Commonwealth down in the Portsmouth area that was 74. So when some people are like, I'm the oldest in the program, I'm like, got you beat, I think. So definitely please know that this is for everybody. We are housed in the School of Professional and Continuing Education. That's nice to know that when you are applying to JMU, you know where you're applying to. You're not going to apply and do the full lengthy application process that is provided for the traditional college age students. The type of degree that you will be earning. Some of you may have heard of a BA or a BS, a Bachelor's of Art or Bachelor's of Science. Ours is a Bachelor's of Individualized Study. And the important thing in knowing that is it is a bachelor's degree. Somebody asked me, is that a real bachelor's degree? I said, yes, it is. So you're aware. We have an individual plan of study for each student. Why does that matter? Because each of you have taken a variety of courses through a variety of seasons of your life. And we want you to know that we don't want you to duplicate courses or take additional courses if not needed. So it's going to be an individualized plan of study. When you are thinking about your pathway and your courses, we always want to alert you that depending on the program that you select, there may be additional courses that are required by the State Department of Education. And so we just want to make sure that you're aware where some people say, well, I've already taken, the sciences that were required by my community college or by the general education courses at JMU. And now you're telling me I have to take another science? Well, it's not necessarily me that's telling you that, it's the state. So we want to alert you to that ahead of time. All of our classes are online, they are synchronous. And what that means is there is a common class meeting time. Our classes are typically or are after school unless they're general education. The program courses, I should say, are all after school. There might be some general educations that are asynchronous on your own time. The reason we have after school classes is a large of our three of our programs have our students working as a paraprofessional in a public school. If you're not working as a paraprofessional in a public school, that is okay. Okay. I want to be very clear. If you're working in a private daycare for your first practicum placement, that could be an option. But we want to let you know that our classes are in the evening and attendance is required. And we understand this is a period of time where everybody has everything going on, but you've made a choice to do a program like this, and we found our students feel more empowered and successful by having those on class virtual meetings. It's approximately 7 semesters. And I wrote fall, spring, summer, and you're like, I can do that. Fall, spring, summer, fall. The final fall will be when you student teach. And that student teaching time will have to be in a public school because you are earning a state license. If you are not working in a public school, that is okay. We can help secure your placement. The student teaching is 12 weeks, and the next slides will talk about that. Like we said, it's approximately 2.5 years. And some people are like, wait a minute, that's too much. How is it 2.5 years? It is a little over 60 credits, like 62 or 63. It's just the other half of what you take at your community college. We're not adding on additional courses. That final semester we have found to be the time when you student teach, and it gives you time to really focus on that student teaching and taking potential one or two courses. It is also the cohort model, meaning that you'll travel through a selected section of courses at a time. So, a little bit about the early childhood. This is the licensure areas pre-K to 3 or endorsement area. You'll hear both terms. It is for students like that might be earning an applied associate degree in early childhood from a Virginia community college. Here it says you do not need to be working as an instructional assistant or paraprofessional, however, it's encouraged. And the reason it's encouraged is your second practicum and your final student teaching have to be in a public school. All right. Here it talks about the field experiences. There are two practicums. Each practicum can either take place in your place of employment, or if you're in a private daycare, that's okay for one of them. And it is about 60 hours the entire semester, which balances out to about 4 hours a week. And then the student teaching is 12 weeks. The other one that is up and coming and very attractive to many schools that you might have an awareness is a dual licensure. So if it's dual, you have two parts to it. Therefore, you have to have two student teaching placements. But this one is you have an applied science degree or the Associates of Arts or Associates of Science. If you have the Associates of Arts or Science, it's often referenced as a transferable associate that takes care of the general ed. If not, you can take care of those general education courses with us at JMU. You have approximately, I want to say, I think there are three practicums. This will have to be public school for all three practicums. And then the licensure areas, I apologize, are pre-K to 3 and birth to 5 special ed. Sometimes you may have heard it called early childhood special ed, but it's both. The two student teaching placements have to be one is in an inclusive pre-K, birth to 5 special ed, and then the other is pre-K to 3. And what's important to note here is both have to appear on your official transcripts for your state license. However, if you are working in an inclusive pre-K, it satisfies both of these requirements. So both student teaching can take place in the same capacity or in the same classroom because a pre-K inclusive classroom, the inclusive part satisfies the birth to 5 special ed, and the pre-K part satisfies the pre-K to 3. This flyer has all of our programs listed on the front side as well as the back. It talks about the field experiences. It talks about the program requirements. It talks about the licensure assessments that are required as well. So what is this program? Across the Commonwealth, we work with community colleges and wonderful colleagues like Lori to help make an awareness for students of different pathway options for them. If you are earning either, here it says IAs, again, we know that it's not only instructional assistants. If you're working in a private daycare, that's an option for your first placement. You are earning their associate degree or applied science degree. And we have 4 programs again, but we're targeting just the early childhood and the inclusive early today. And then once you get that degree, if you say, what can I go next? Then maybe JMU is a choice for you. Here's the next steps to Laurel Ridge, and I'll let Lori talk about the Laurel Ridge as well as Virginia Community Colleges elsewhere.
So Laurel Ridge and all the community colleges have a common Associates of Applied Science degree in early childhood. So wherever you're at, you're taking the same courses as anybody else in the early childhood program at any community college in the state. When you complete that Associates of Applied Science degree, typically an Associates of Applied Science degree is not meant for transfer, believe it or not. Hence the word applied. It means you're going to apply what you've learned and go right into the workforce. And you can do that. Or you can continue on because now that those lines have gotten very gray. So once you complete that Associates of Applied Science, JMU is an awesome option for transfer. It'll take that Associates of Applied Science degree in early childhood and get you into this BIS program. So completing that AAS is what you need to do at the community college first. Oh,
All right.
I needed to say about that. JMU requires History 121 and 122. So Only one of those is required for the common degree. But if you don't want to do those two histories, you got the option of doing PLS, just political science, 135. So it's either history 121 and 122, two courses, 6 credits, or PLS 135. That's an idiosyncrasy for JMU. Every university has them. It's my favorite rubrics crib to put together all the time, trying to figure out who wants what. But for JMU, that is the only glitch.
Thank you. I'm sure we have many glitches as any place, but that's the one that we try to catch ahead of time. And when you apply at JMU for the first go round, what happens is we do the application, which is no cost to apply if you've completed that applied science degree, and they'll evaluate it. And a lot of times we catch you ahead of time and we say, hey, if you want to go ahead and go take this now. We actually have a student that's taking her second half starting in March. That's going to be coming to us in the fall. So what are the next steps to JMU? It says transferable associate, but we want to be very clear. It's the applied science as well, either one of those degrees. If you have that, you can reach out to me. My contact information is there. As I shared before, we have a cohort model, meaning you take the same courses with the group of students in your program. It starts in fall of 25. They're fall starts. Our application opened on February 10th. It stays open to July 1, and the priority deadline is April 1. We realize many students are still taking summer courses. So when you apply, you will send the official transcripts through Laurel Ridge / Parchment to JMU for your initial application process. Then, if you're taking courses in the summertime up until August, that's fine. Then you'll send once grades are posted and your degree is conferred, then you'll send your official transcripts again. Official transcripts usually cost between $7 and $10. I'm not sure. I can't always remember. But the good thing is once you come to JM and once you apply, our application, there is no cost to apply. Okay. We have very specific directions. So please don't apply to a JMU traditional program at large because you'll be like, you have to pay money and it'll be a lengthier application. Um, this has some more information about the transferable associates. If you're interested in the other programs, this was complete included here. But again, please, I want to be very clear. The applied science is definitely a pathway at JMU. So you have an awareness of the tuition. The Board of Visitors at JMU around April sets the cost of tuition. Tuition increases typically every year. There are two different price points for tuition at JMU, depending on your program. I want to be very clear. We are not, these cost tuition rates were set prior to me being in my role. So I don't always understand the logistics behind it because you'll see the difference. If you take a per credit hour with the ECD program, it's 463. That one was set up first. And since the other three came into the program, they were set up with a teacher shortage and have a different reduced tuition. I don't think everybody talked at the same time or got it all communicated or were aware of the differences. Please know that it's not punitive, but what is most important is Smart Beginnings and Pell Grants are accepted at JMU and really make a huge difference, as well as FAFSA and other scholarship availability. The textbooks on as a ballpark is about $400 over your course of your period. We talk about some of the licensure assessments at large. Again, this is a ballpark figure. So you have these Virginia State licensure assessments. The first one is just Virginia says they need a math entry assessment. And there's multiple ways to attain that. The first one is the ALEC. I highly discourage you searching for an Alex on your own. What happens once you become full-time at JMU and matriculate, you get it free. You have 3 opportunities to pass it. When you take it the first time, then if you don't hit the score of 486, there's no cost to take this, but then you are required to go through a set of modules that are tailored to the areas of review that you need. Once you complete those, then the test will unlock again, and then you can take it your second or your third time. Um, this test can be taken at home and it is used with a lockdown browser. So if you are in a public school or if you have a different type of device, that sometimes can be a little bit tricky to navigate, but it can work out. If Alex, it doesn't work for you, you can pay to take the Praxis core. Notice all the highlights, okay? Some of you may once upon a time have taken an ACT or an SAT math. If so, there are the scores. You can see the one between 1995 to 2016. And you're like, I have no idea if I took one of those. What do I do? How do I go about it? You can call College Board. The link is there and it'll take you to the website and you'll ask for your login. You're like, maybe you know it. I wouldn't have known it, and you just call them and they'll help you. Okay. And then you can find out if you have that score. Again, maybe some of you have this amazing memory, memorize their scores that they got. Any of these will satisfy that requirement. All right, the next set of assessments, it's nice to know what you're getting yourself into. That's required. These have to be completed prior to student teaching being allowed. ECED, LAD, and ICE all have the Praxis tests. You see the word Praxis a lot. It's owned by the ETS company, and these assessments are listed here, and these are the current costs and the current test score and passing score. Those can be started anytime. Um, we just have to have an official score report sent to us. The top set, these top four, you take them individually. They'll give you an option for the 5001 series. You will have some serious test exhaustion of sitting still, taking these tests for about a little over 4 hours. I highly discourage that, but if you have the stamina and you're like, I'm going to knock it out, go for it. These need to be taken at a testing center. There will be an option to take it at home. I highly discourage it because if there is the slightest glitch in your Wi-Fi, you will have lost the test. You will have to wait 30 days before you retake it. And there's often not a voucher for you to take it, for you to get reimbursed. So find a local testing center. There are a lot across the Commonwealth. We have had some students have to drive up to 2 hours. But again, if you're strategic, maybe you can take one in the morning, one in the afternoon. Um, the final one is the Praxis Teaching Reading. That's 5205. It used to be called the RVE, if you've ever heard of that. That one is a little over 2 hours. There's the cost of that one. This one is extremely unique because it takes about 45, it can take up to 45 days to get the score reports. Maybe you caught this, maybe you didn't, but if you do not pass, please don't get too discouraged. That happens sometimes. But you have to wait 30 days before you can retake it, 28 to 30. So you have to be kind of intentional about planning these. Here are the websites to each of our program. I am almost certain they're all up and refreshed and running, that we've tried to make some edits so it's a lot more user friendly. And here's our information as well, my information. It used to have Lori's page there, but we've tried to make it very accessible for Virginia community colleges. And I truly thank you for your time. And it's been lovely. And I don't know, we'll have time for questions. I don't know if she wants to stop the recording before we start asking questions or not.
That's probably a good idea. I'll try to figure out how to do that.